Fredbear's Family Diner, a place for kids and grown-ups alike where fantasy and fun come to life. I'm sure by now everybody has heard of Fredbear's Family Diner and the animatronics within it. If you don't know who Fredbear is, and if you've been living under a rock like a caveman for the past month, Fredbear's Family Diner was the pizzeria attraction before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I'm not the best with my FNAF lore, but I'm 99% sure that it's the place where it all started. It's the place where William put on the Spring Bonnie costume and began to body children. But it's the place that later on actually ended up birthing Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, because that place got shut down for, you know, pretty obvious reasons.
Are you challenging me?
Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been, over the past month, an outbreak of Fredbear FNAF fan games completely taking the internet by storm, and even the largest YouTubers in the FNAF community on the platform, like Fusion Z Gamer, 3FS, and Dorko, are all playing these Fredbear games that came out years ago. So why are they so popular right now? Bear with me, by the way, this is my first time doing a voiceover video, so yeah. Well, in order to figure that out, we're gonna have to go back into the past and see what made the Five Nights at Freddy's free roam genre so popular. All the way back in 2015, a demo was released called Fazbear Nightmare. I believe this is the first released Five Nights at Freddy's free roam game ever. At the time, it wasn't super popular, but it birthed the idea of the concept of, well, hang on, we're so used to playing Five Nights at Freddy's in a point-and-click scenario, trapped and confined within the walls of an office. But what if we could leave the office? What if we could actually survive the night at the pizzeria, moving around as free as possible, having to actually run away from the animatronics instead of just relying on the office doors and original mechanics? It just opened the door to so many opportunities. I mean, I don't really think I need to explain why this became such a popular genre in itself. It's pretty obvious, but yeah, it was a really, really great idea. This led to a developer by the name of Nixon creating a game called The Joy of Creation Reborn, which was released April 17th, 2016 in the alpha phase. And then this game just took the internet by storm. Everybody was playing it, man. Markiplier, Corey Kenshin, the list goes on. Because the game was such a polished and beautiful concept of showing off the potential of Five Nights at Freddy's free roam games. In The Joy of Creation Reborn, there were 4 levels to complete. The first one was Freddy, where you had to run around and collect 5 objects within the period of 1 minute. And if you didn't, well, you couldn't progress and unlock the other levels, and you'd just kind of get laid out by Freddy. Then there was the next level, which was the basement, where you'd face off against Bonnie. Same objective, you had to run around again in a free roam scenario, running away from Bonnie while trying to collect 5 objects within 1 minute. Then there's Chica's, where you're actually in a very different setting. You're still in that free roam chase scenario, except you're in a forest that's huge and you have to collect 10 drawings within 5 minutes, otherwise it's over. And then of course, last but not least, there was Foxy inside the attic, where you'd have to run around, collect 5 objects within 1 minute and 30 seconds, and Foxy would be creeping and walking towards you, and then his eyes would light up white, and when they do, you would have to flash to protect yourself. And if you flashed him too soon, excellent run. Yeah, his eyes would turn red and he'd body you. So Nixon showing off the insane potential and amazing gameplay and entertainment through The Joy of Creation Reborn beta and alpha phase. It led to a string of so many different FNAF fan games on Game Jolt that are specifically free roam. There were so many games that had their own twist on it within the free roam scenario. It just worked and it was so much fun, and it really just changed the FNAF community and content space as a whole forever. People were making Five Nights at Freddy's 1 free roams. People were making Five Nights at Freddy's 2 free roams. 3, 4, you know, the list just goes on. Until one day, a developer decided, well, hang on, we've got all these Five Nights at Freddy's free roams from all the different games and in the storyline, right? What if we tried something different? What if we have the same free roam formula for a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game, but instead of it being based off of one of the games from the main franchise, how about we explore the past? How about we explore and go to the location before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, before Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy themselves? And that brings us to Fredbear's Family Diner. Now, there were a lot of Fredbear's Family Diner Five Nights at Freddy's fan games made. In around 2015, I believe it was. And all these games still maintained the same FNAF fan game formula of being confined in a point-and-click office with cameras and doors being the only way to defend yourself. Now, I don't believe it was Nixon who made the first free roam Fredbear's Family Diner fan game, but definitely the most popular Fredbear's Family Diner free roam game began getting rumored of development, and of course it was made by Nixon, because at this point Nixon's reputation, and still is, absolutely colossal titan size still to this day within the community. Nixon was developing a free roam Five Nights at Freddy's fan game called Those Nights at Fredbear's, except this time it was set at Fredbear's Family Diner with all new animatronics that we've never seen brought to life in this way. It was a nice refresh, change in pace, you know? Instead of it being the original Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, it was actually Fredbear, Spring Bonnie, Spring Freddy, and I believe Plushtrap. I believe he may have came along later down the timeline, but nonetheless, unfortunately this game was cancelled, I believe within the same year that it was announced for development due to Nixon's account being hacked and a lack of interest, which is really unfortunate because this game would have been nuts. The plot of the game is about an unnamed mother who investigates the Fredbear's Family Diner and looks for her missing daughter named Lily. During her investigation, the animatronics began to roam around the building and attempt to hunt her down. The game would receive an official reboot of Those Nights at Fredbear's in July 2018, which was first announced in a Q&A video with Fiznom for the Joy of Creation story mode, but before it was eventually cancelled following the game's cancellation, the community began to create their own versions of the game. One of the well-known examples is Those Nights at Fredbear's New Destiny. Now, this game, man, is truly something else. I've personally played through the game myself, and it's terrifying. You have to manage 4 animatronics: Fredbear, Spring Bonnie, Spring Freddy, and Plushtrap. Plushtrap's mechanic was pretty simple. He would move from shelf to shelf to get closer and closer to a generator located on the other side of the building from your office, and eventually get there and shut it down. Once he shuts it down, well, you lose power and you cook. Fredbear, he's scary and massive. He's really, really fast and faster than any of the other animatronics, so he jumps off of his stage and comes for you. Very similar to Foxy, and you have to be ready to either close your door or hide while he roams the building, and then I believe he jumps back onto his stage. Spring Bonnie and Fredbear, both very, very simple. They both just roam the building looking for you. But the AI of these characters is really, really disturbing. Once they actually know where you are and they've seen you at a spot, say Spring Bonnie saw you standing in your office, right, and he's coming from the left, or he sees you there, you close the door, right? He will run around the other side to the other door through that hallway and try and get to that same point where he last saw you to clap them cheeks. Crazy, right? Really, really, really advanced AI. Now, this game became very, very popular around June 27th, 2024, when a YouTuber by the name of Snaspy, by the way, bro, you're a goat. Your content's absolutely hilarious, man. Anyway, Snaspy uploaded a video called "It Was Agony to Beat This 420 Free Roam Mode," where he attempted to beat the 420 mode of this game, and my goodness, bro, it looks disgusting. In fact, it was so difficult that it hadn't even been tested as beatable yet, which is insane. And of course, that did insanely well with the video getting 3.3 million freaking views, because it's insanity. The game being how it is by itself is so difficult, and then pumping all the animatronics full of freaking turbo serum, making them aggressive, stronger, faster, and smarter, and they just hit harder and harder and harder. So props to you, Snaspy, for actually beating this this mode, man. That's crazy. And then other YouTubers saw this and tried beating the mode themselves. Eamon, for an example, believe Fusion Z Gamer made a video on this as well. Every FNAF YouTuber was making a video on this game, right? And rightfully so, it was absolutely insanity. Another thing that was very interesting about those nights at Fredbear's New Destiny is that they had the ability to upgrade the models. They were the old school Gmod source filmmaker freaking animation roleplay model that used to be around all the time when I was a kid. You know, we've now got 1-to-1 accuracy with Five Nights at Freddy's models now. Why didn't the models change? And I think that is a part of why it blew up so much, is because it actually gave people a sense of nostalgia as well as still being a really, really high-end polished game. It was like a combination of yin and yang. It was like old school nostalgia, but also the actual horrifying aspect of it being a really well-made, beautiful, polished free roam game that was really difficult. Now, since then, around a month ago, another Nixon remake of Those Nights at Fredbear's dropped by a developer named Salamance, the game being called Those Nights at Fredbear's the 2015 remake. And again, following the same premise as the original Those Nights at Fredbear's by Nixon, where you play as the mother looking for her daughter Lily, but I believe you're actually working the night shift there as a night guard. So the current release version of it is only a demo, and it's a faithful recreation of the original Those Nights at Fredbear's made by Nixon. This version has been made to give people an almost perfectly accurate recreation of the original cancelled version, but also build on that with a fully rewritten and lengthy story mode. Now, this demo includes the exact same formula and factors of Those Nights at Fredbear's New Destiny, which obviously was a crazy popular game on the internet not that long ago within the FNAF community. Has the same models, except the Fredbear model is different. It's actually an even crappier old school model as well. But the premise was the same. You work the nights, you have to keep an eye on Plush Trap, not until later though, Spring Bonnie, Spring Freddy, who both have the same mechanic where they roam the building looking for you to get you with a very, very similar AI. And then the main attraction being Fredbear. Now, Fredbear kind of acts very similar to Foxy. Fredbear has his own little room with an out of order sign and a curtain. And over time, that curtain begins to creep open. And if you do not go back into that room and close the curtain before it fully opens, well, let's just say Fredbear proceeds to flintlock wood run at you, right? Going 90 miles per hour with perfect human form for no reason, completely taking your soul. I, for one, have suffered from this experience myself. Obviously, again, as of recently, this has been a massive craze in the FNAF community on YouTube at the moment, taking the internet by storm yet again. And it's literally just a second remake of Those Nights at Fredbear's by Nixon. My boy Nixon, man, you got to pick up that pencil, bro, and come back, bro, because I can't imagine what you would come up with by now. Nonetheless, these games deserve this. They are absolutely mental. The mechanics, the polished gameplay, all of it is absolutely beautiful, yet still maintaining that nostalgic aspect with the old school models. And I think that's why they're so popular right now as well, is it's that perfect balance, again, like I said, of yin and yang, of the old school, but also the nowadays grown evolution of Five Nights at Freddy's free roam games. I also believe that it's almost borderline become a meme, right? The way that Fredbear moves. And something that both of these games all have in common as well is they started getting a lot of traction through shorts and TikTok and Instagram reels by streamers and YouTubers uploading footage of them breaking ankles. And I mean,
has begun. The plan has failed. I walked into the bathroom by accident.
Literally fadeaways, all of it, twisting the ankles of these animatronics, bro, you know. And rightfully so, it was so sick to watch, right? That also gained these particular models and these particular characters heaps of notoriety because it was their faces getting their ankles snapped. I, for one, have snapped their ankles and I can confidently say myself they deserved it. But nonetheless, it was these guys. It was these original models. You could even break Fredbear's ankles at the size that he was in Those Nights at Fredbear's New Destiny. but I wouldn't really try it in those nights at Fredbear's, the 2015 remake, because my boy is just too fast, bro. He's moving like A-Train out here, bro. And this particular model from those nights at Fredbear's, the 2015 remake, it's so old and so, you know, in comparison to what we have now, bad. But that's what makes it so great. It's that perfect balance of nostalgia, but also really high quality polished game mechanics. And he doesn't even run like an animatronic. And it's completely taken the FNAF community by storm. But I absolutely love it. This game is terrifying. Both of these games are terrifyingly awesome and have amazing features that are definitely both worth playing. I don't know about beating it. That's almost like selling your soul. Yeah. I myself, I have beaten those nights at Fredbear's, the 2015 remake. I've beaten the 420 mode on that without all the extra boxes ticked. But I have not beaten those nights at Fredbear's New Destiny's 420 mode because it hadn't even been tested. And hey man, Snap Speed, bro, that's all you, bro. Now, the way that this has impacted the FNAF community on YouTube and the content area, man, it's crazy. This is an insane impact. Like, it's absolutely insane. This could change Five Nights at Freddy's fan games as we know them forever. Specifically, Five Nights at Freddy's free roam games now are literally only Fredbear oriented. Nobody cares about the original 4 anymore. Nobody cares about Foxy running after you really quickly. Why would you care about that when you can have this behemoth with perfect form sprinting at you? And because of the crazy impact that this style of FNAF free roam games has had in the community, I think we're gonna get a lot more of these things. So if you guys don't enjoy this sort of stuff, get used to it, bro, because these crappy old models are going to be seen a lot more, in my opinion. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's such an amazing opportunity to come up with some really, really cool evolved nostalgia in 2025. Heck man, 2015 was almost over 10 years ago, and only recently that it's been brought back up as a trend. And I'm really happy to see that it's getting all this notoriety because it's so great. As a FNAF fan who started watching Five Nights at Freddy's content in 2014, I believe my first video I watched was by iBallistic Squid, if anyone remembers that Minecraft YouTuber. But seeing the way that the community grew and how people made animations and models and all sorts of things in fan games on the game, man, it is really, really nice to see this as an old head of Five Nights at Freddy's still have these games maintain the core of them and what makes them so great. It makes me feel like I'm back in prime 2015, man, of FNAF free roams and stuff like that. Like, it really feels like that, and I think that's why it's so popular. Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. This is my first ever like voiceover sort of discussion video that I've ever made. So I really, really hope that you guys could bear with me and kind of understand exactly what I'm saying, where I'm coming from, and maybe hopefully my points were sort of valid in this video. You know, I don't have a script or anything to go by. I literally just made like a couple dot points of things I roughly want to kind of cover. So I really, really hope that this video has been helpful for you and entertaining for you guys, because nobody's been talking about this. Even though it's massive and everybody's playing the games, why isn't anybody talking about it? If you guys want to watch my playthrough of those nights at Fredbear's, the 2015 remake, I'm not trying to do some shameless plug thing, but I will definitely be linking it in the description down below, because man, like, that game was something else. I've even replayed it recently too. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching all the way up to this point in the video. I really, really appreciate it, guys. And if you guys do enjoy content like this, let me know in the comments down below. I'll obviously be definitely bringing more FNAF content because I love making Five Nights at Freddy's content and content based around horror games. It's my passion. It's what I love doing. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this. Other than that, I hope I've had a positive impact on your day/night. And yeah, God bless you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.